There we are, y'all. We here right now. You know, it's another day. It's another Tuesday, and we are here. Welcome to another episode from the battle to the glory. Yes, we are here. Let me introduce you, our family today. We have our lovely co-host, Lady T, our brother from another mother, Rodney Glover. He is the host of Dad Mentality, and yours truly, my apostle Keith Wilkes. Hey, strong in the Lord, my king brother
Strong in the
as
Lord.
well.
Strong in the
And
Lord,
so,
brother.
listen, guys, before we get into our topic, before we get into everything, we're going to allow him to introduce himself, tell us a little bit about himself as well. And then we're going to jump on into this topic. But before we get in, I got to make sure that everybody else tell how their weekend was as well. We're going to start off with Apostle Keith. Let us know a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, grace and peace, everyone. I am Dr. Keith Wilkes, and I say, I'm not big on titles. I have a doctorate, but it's really more about uh, position and roles more than anything. So, as Brother Dennis said, in the church that I lead, Community Transformation Church, I have the position of apostle. So I lead the church, a church network, a fellowship, and I'm been blessed to have churches here in the States as well as in Africa. And so I lead churches there since 2019, going on 2020. We know that was the COVID year, so that was kind of crazy, but we're doing well. Many people are the churches have been growing, and I'm excited about that. Brother Dennis and I know each other from a men's fellowship that we are a part of. It's a national fellowship, a brotherhood called King, and it's interesting that we're talking about the topic that we're talking about this evening, because that is really one of our things with King, is that we focus on men as leaders and what it is to be a true leader in your home, in your communities. And so I'm excited about that. I myself, I've been in ministry many years. I was at the youth house. I'm aging myself, but if you guys remember the movie Lean on Me with Joe Clark, I was with Joe Clark at the Newark Juvenile Detention Center. So I go back. And I started there, prison ministry, outreach street ministry. That was my background. I came up in Newark doing that, and also in Philadelphia as well. So I'm excited to be with you guys here today. I'm excited about the topic as well. I've been sneaking, watching you guys, watching your previous shows, just to kind of get a feel for it. And so it's just good to meet everyone.
All right, Lady T, how was your weekend?
Well, it's nice to meet you, Dr. Keith Wilkes. My weekend was good. It was filled with joy and peace and love. So I was happy. That's all I'm going to give y'all. But other than that, I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to listen to this conversation, because I will have questions, but I want to hear what y'all have to say about this topic. So I'm really looking forward to this.
Roddy, what about yourself? And please, Roddy, don't miss the biggest thing that
Right.
was exciting. So please
Exactly.
tell us.
Yes, sir. I'm not going to miss it.
Thank
For
you.
all of y'all who don't know, as you do know, you can follow me, Rodney Glover. You can watch it. I got baptized this Sunday. Just to give a brief story, I was one of those people that did not believe in baptism. I believe that it was, at the time, I believe that it was a show that people put on, that they really wasn't changed, and that they really were just doing this because unfortunately I grew up in a household and family where you turn 12, you get baptized, you turn this, you're supposed to do that, you're supposed to do this, and people didn't take the time to really teach people what they were really doing, and that bothered me. It always was a conflict for me.
Wow.
So when it came to my children, I refused to let them do it, because they was like, oh, they're 12, they got to get baptized. Nah, that's not what it's about. So anyway, I'm not going to go into that spiel. But when I turned my life over to God, he convicted me that Baptism was something more than that. I'm now changed. I'm not the same person. This is a way of me showing the world that I am no longer the guy that you may have known before. You know what I'm saying? That God has changed me from the inside. He has changed my heart, and this is just showing people on the outside that my heart has changed. And after many conversations, I decided to go and actually go through the process of getting baptized. And it was a great day. My family was there. Everybody was happy for me. Like I said, and I told my pastor, I was like, I'm already changed, so you ain't got to hold me down there very long. So, I went, I went and did it. And, I'm happy that I did. I'm happy that it is. And I do understand what it symbolizes and what it means. And I encourage anybody to, one, change and have a relationship with God, and two, and get baptized. It's all a part of that. Once you start walking with God, you start doing the things, you start feeling and understanding the thing that God wants you to do. And that was one of the things that was also another part of my submission, because I swore I would never do it. It was one of those things. Once again, I got a running list of things I told God I will not do that I am now doing. So, it was just another thing that my wife checked off the whiteboard saying, all right, he said he would never do this, and here he is. So, it's part of that real submission to God and really understanding that, he is the leader. I wake up every day and my new saying this week, I told you, is like, I want at the end of the day, I know that at the end of the day, somebody's going to say they're proud of me, whether it's God or the devil. One of them is going to tell me they're proud of me for this day. So I work for every day that it be God to tell me that he's proud of me for this day. So there you go. That's my new mantra for this week.
All right. Listen, I had a great weekend as well. It was wonderful. I just want to tell you guys a brief story. I actually had my first in a while, my street ministry. I was out with the pastor, and let me tell you something. Oh man, it was exciting for me because I was able to be me, not only be me, but share the gospel, share it the way I want to do it, what God has lead me to do it. And you know what? I felt like everybody that I spoke to received it, and it was like hugs, and I'm being genuine about it. It's not about, like I always tell people when I'm talking about God, it's not about me. So don't look at me. I'm just the vessel that God is using. So don't focus on how I look. Focus on what's coming out my heart and what's coming out my mouth, because that's the center of it. And that, so just doing that, man, I was great. I met two young men. Actually, I was on their men's ministry on Monday. I met them on Saturday, and they called me to be on a men's ministry. It was wonderful, man. Just being over there, these men that were, looking for a community. And some of the stories in there, man, I'm telling you, it blows my mind, because that's what men do. They get into this dark space, in this dark place, and they don't want to talk. They want to share, or not even share. They don't want to get to the point where they can begin the healing process. And how they do that? By speaking about it, by talking about it, releasing that darkness, releasing that pain and that hurt on the inside that they keep there. And so just being amongst them, man, and talking, man, it was, I definitely going to be with them again, because, it's truly what God has called me to do. And so here we're talking about it right now in our topic. Why are men under heavy attack from leadership? And so me and Ronnie, we always talk about this. And so, I'm just being led. I don't want you to ever think that this is a battle or anything, because we always talk about this, and I'm always transparent, open. So when this is aired, it's the truth of me. I'm not focused on Rodney or anything. We laugh and we joke, but I just want to set the air correctly. You know what I'm saying? And so that's why I said what I said, and I want people to understand that. And the reason why I became this topic is because this is what's going on in the world. And I give you guys an example of why it is important for men to step up and be the leaders that God has called them to. When you look at Adam, right? God gave him a distinction, a detail on the job before he gave his helpmate. So he told him to name all the animals, and till the land. And in that, guess he did not have any mate. And so we're going to focus on why God has called men to leadership and why it's important for us to walk in that leadership. When you look at, listen, and then I'm going to let you guys jump right on in. Look, Madden 2027 has a black man on the cover of the game with a man who has fingernail polish on his hand. What is it portraying? What is it telling us what we supposed to be? There are young men that look at this man as a model. But guess what? When I say heavy attack, that's heavy attack, because these ideas, now a young little boy can put polish on his nail. And so this is a role model that young men look up to, and they say, oh, I want to be like him. And so guess what? This is giving the idea, but who's behind orchestrating and allowing that to happen? And so, Apostle, give us your understanding of why you feel like men are under heavy attack in leadership.
Yeah, thank you. I would say this, and I was going over this as we discussed it, but we would have this podcast, and I would say this. I would say that there appears to be an agenda regarding masculine manhood. There appears to be an agenda through Hollywood, television, an agenda that is attacking masculinity. The term toxic masculinity has become very popular, which I do believe toxic masculinity does exist, but not all masculinity is toxic. And so I think that there's definitely an agenda to emasculate men. I think it is often presented as it's looking to bring equality or more equality between the genders, but I think it's more about supplanting men as the head than to bring about equality. I really think that agenda is that way. Now, as a Christian, as a believer, and Jesus as my Lord, I look to the Word of God, the Bible, to say how, what is the template? How is it designed from the Creator? And so the Word says that the man is the head of the woman, and Christ is the head of the man, and it has other things in there, but that is the template that was established, and therefore I go by under the premise that you follow the template that was established by our Creator. Why would I say we're under attack? Is if you want to tear something down, if you want to destroy something, then even if we want to put it in terms of how you would fight physically, you attack the head. You attack the head and you get the body. So if man is the head, you attack the head, and with it, you can potentially destroy the whole family. And then that translates into even to communities as well. So I think that's why men are under attack. I think that there is an agenda of individuals that do not honor what could be termed the traditional family profile or template, and that is the agenda to take out the head, which is the man, and therefore you take out the whole system. That's just my humble opinion.
Rodney, what about you?
Isn't the head Christ?
Christ is the head, yes.
So that's what I'm just a little confused there. I mean, if you're following the template is that the man is following the Christ, the wife follows the man. Correct. So the head would be Christ.
Well, there's an agenda for that too, but there are separate agendas. Yes, I think that there's an attack against Christianity in general, but I think if you're looking at it in the natural, that agenda is to attack the man who is the head of the family. So I think that there's an agenda to attack Christ as well.
Okay. I mean, I as far as here's what I've said in the past, and I still feel the same way, that the devil wants us all. It don't matter whether it's the man, the wife, and I feel that we as a society, we put these labels. Now let's get it straight. Yes, God did create a pattern, the way it should be. And in perfection, if it's ran that way, then things are great. You know what I'm saying? If the man is following God first,
I agree.
then the woman follows him. And one of the big things I say is easy for a woman, I say to my wife, it's easy for a woman to follow a man who's following God. You know what I'm saying? And I want to make
definitely easier. I would say.
Yes, exactly. But I want to make it easy for you. But the fact that the thing about it is that the woman or the wife still has her own relationship with God. Right. And if you're not following, if you're as the so-called, this is the part that bothers me, as the so-called head of the household, you know what I'm saying? If I'm not following God, it is not for her to still follow me into sin. You know what I'm saying? Like it's still her, I want my wife to follow me as long as I'm following God. But if I'm leading her to sin, then I don't want her to follow. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the same for God. So I always get confused when people will be like, oh, well, you're the head of your household. No, God is the head of my household. You know what I'm saying? If God is my line leader, I'm just first in line. You know what I'm saying? Right behind him, then my wife is following behind that. But if God is going right and I start going left, I don't expect for my wife to go left with me.
I agree.
The worst thing she can do is go left with me. You know what I'm saying? So,
I agree.
I am the leader as long as I'm following God. But when I stop following God, I don't expect for my wife to bring her or my children, which are behind her, with me. You know what I'm saying? So that's where I get a lot of the confusion. Like, okay, everybody says you're supposed to be the head of your household. You're supposed to be the leader of this. No, God is supposed to be that. If God is that and I'm following God, then everything behind that should be great. But as soon as
that's the ideal situation. That's the ideal. And I agree with you. It's like we get, and I'll be honest. I used to be one of them brothers. Yo, you supposed to follow me and it didn't matter what I was talking about, because I ain't have the sense I was born with at one time. But I'm just saying, I agree with you that there is a lot of brothers that just say you're supposed to follow me because I'm the head and you just follow me. And I agree with what you said, that brother, that no. If you're going the right way, then she should follow. There are many households being held up because the woman is following God and really holding the whole thing down spiritually, because the brothers are out of order. I mean, that happens more than I'm comfortable with, to be honest with you. But so I agree with what you're saying. You don't just follow blindly, regardless. Everybody is responsible for their own relationship with the Lord. Yeah, I agree with you.
And so Ronnie, that's the whole discussion right there, is that yes, there are men that are not following God, and yes, but we're trying to change the narrative and encourage men to step up and be the leaders, because every man that is born is called to be a leader. But guess what? How they go about it, if they're not being taught, how can it be a leader if they're not being taught?
And that statement is what I have the problem with.
What do you have a problem with?
Because every man was brought up to be a follower, not a leader.
Okay.
Every man was brought up to be because if you don't start with following Christ, then everything behind it is trash. Just like what we're saying. So when you say every man is brought up to be a leader, well, if he's not following Christ, then no, he's not brought up to be a leader.
I said supposed to be a leader, right? And we're trying to get the men to understand, listen, step up and be the leader that you are called to be.
No, step up and be the follower of Christ you were called to be.
And the moment you become a husband, God says, listen, love your wife like Christ loved the church. Do you know how much sacrifice you have to do to love your wife? Do you know how much you have to give
you're
up?
only focused on step 2.
Your wife don't have to do nothing.
2.
She don't have to
once
do that.
Step 1 is be the follower of Christ. Step 2 is lead your family.
True that.
Follower of Christ, lead your family.
Right.
Follower of Christ,
but
lead
really,
your family.
really, you guys are talking about two parts of the same whole, because yes, it's be followed. What if the Apostle Paul said, "Follow me as I follow Christ." So he actually included it in that statement. And so, yeah, the first thing is you are a follower of Christ. But I think that we have to be taught. First off, if you don't know how to follow, you're not qualified to lead. That's a personal opinion. If you don't know how to follow, then you're not qualified to lead. So, because how could you expect someone to do something you've never done, right? And but then I think that raising our men to be leaders is important as well, because even in the way that, we're structured in society, and there are a lot of different parts to this, we're taught, okay, you focus on, even if you're looking to for someone to prosper or be progressive or whatever, you say, go get your career straight. Make sure you know who you are, this and that. I agree with all of that, but I think there should be an intentional focus to train our youth. What is it to be a husband? What is it to be a wife? Now, I'm not saying go back to arranged marriages at 14 and stuff like that they used to do back in the day. But I'm saying I believe that it would be helpful for us to get training in that. Now, this is what a husband is. This is what a father is. This is what a wife is. This is what a mother is. And, an intentionality to be a husband, be a wife before you're a father or a mother. I think that, and in that training, you're basically training what it is to be a leader as well. Because I do agree with you. A husband is automatically a leader. Automatically. But he should be, as you said, Brother Ronnie, a follower. Because that qualifies him to be a leader. So
they say the same thing, just two different ways.
They're saying, and he said, well, Brother Ronnie said it is step 1, step 2. He said step 1, step 2. I like that. Step 1, step 2. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but Chef Dennis always talks about step 2, which is be a leader. But you can't be a leader unless because the same thing, like I said, my wife should not follow me if I'm not following God. If I'm going and doing my own thing and coming up with all these, like, the reason why I can say this is because for 15 years, I did that. I did what I wanted to do.
Wow.
And my wife questioned, which she should, because she has a relationship with God.
I've been there, brother.
Yeah, she questioned. Yeah. She's like, well, hold on, bro. Like, you want us to go do this and do that, but where's God in that? You know what I'm saying? So for me, I just know that my marriage now is way better, and I am still the leader of my household. Don't get it twisted by any means. Am I not? I am the leader of my household. I am the leader. My wife follows me, but she follows me because she knows that I am following God.
Hey, Lady T, keep it real. He didn't say that last week, did he, Lady T?
I don't know what you're talking about. What
I always said that, sir.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I'm going back to the recording. Going back. Lady T, he did not say he the leader last week.
I did.
He said no.
I said I'm the follower first. I said I did the exact same thing. I said it's God. Mm-hmm. I said God is the leader of my household. That's what I said.
Okay.
I said it's God, then it's me, then it's my wife, then it's my children. It's like a line. God is my line leader. That's what I said.
I remember that.
And I'm not changing that.
No, I remember him saying that.
Yo, he did not say. I said you the leader. He said no.
I'm not
now.
Let me get back because I want to ask this question.
Y'all. I'm the first follower. That's what I am.
Okay.
Go ahead, Lacey. Go ahead.
Okay. Dr. Keith, you mentioned the agenda that is being done. What is the agenda that is in our modern day life that men are dealing with that is not allowing them to be leaders? I want to know the agenda because honestly, I know the adversary is always around. to discourage, to separate us from God. But when we say the agenda, I always think there is something that is a mission, right? An agenda is for a mission. So what is the mission? To separate men and the reason why I'm asking is because why would our society want to separate families and discourage the men from being leaders when we all live in a certain location in a place and we all should have unity to be together to say this is our land, this is our people, we want to protect, we want to provide. What's the agenda? Why are we separating ourselves? I'm kind of, I know what I think it is, but I want to hear what you got to say.
Yeah, thanks. I think you mentioned something key there. You mentioned the adversary. And so, let's say us here on this line. I don't know, I can't speak specifically for each of you, but I feel I've caught your spirit thus far. You wake up every day, you are seeking to be the best person you can be that day. I'm with today, I'm going to live to honor God as best I can. Some days we get the bear, some days the bear get us. That's the way it works, right? There are people that wake up every day looking to destroy, to do harm, to tear down. And a lot of times it's attached to greed, right? But at the expense of others. So when I say agenda, I refer to people that are in power where their God is money, power, influence, and then those groups of people, just like we're here gathered together talking, they get together and gather and talk. And then they make the programming that's on television. They make the movies. They make the policies, the lending policies in neighborhoods. So when I say agenda, I'm kind of grouping all of them together. And just to even speak to our topic tonight, if we take the men out, because we're the protectors, we're the ones that are even as Brother Rodney said, we're the followers of Christ and then the heads of our home, and I think we would all agree with that. And that agenda says, look, if we're going to accomplish our ideal goals, the protectors, we got to knock them down. We got to take and I believe what they've been able to do. There is toxic masculinity. It is something that does exist. Now, whether or not it exists to the point that they're claiming, I don't know. But they've used that to try to overcorrect what I do believe. Like let's gender inequality, even the wage gap between position, gender versus position, and how there is truth to the fact that women are underpaid for the same exact position. That's not a coincidental thing either. That is those in power wanting to keep it that way. And so they've looked to this agenda takes advantage of some of those facts to overcompensate. Hey, let's take some of these truths, exaggerate it somewhat, and then let's further our agenda to be able to take these men out who are the protectors of their homes and their families. We can destroy these families and take advantage of these communities. And so I believe that's the main reason, but I think that there are others as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the adversary's the head of it, no question. No question. And those that serve him, knowingly or unknowingly,
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you have, Lady. That's all you have, Lady.
No, I was going to keep going. Okay, so let me keep going. Okay, so, all right. My question is, why can't we see as people, like being in certain positions, let's say, I'm not going to say certain positions. I'm going to say definitely certain positions. I'm not going to say the positions, but there are positions in our life that people hold that can question their morals. Like, why do they do what they do, right? Morally, you should not do certain things, but we do it to our own human beings. And because we have the position and we have the money, and we're being paid, we get the benefits. And so why can't we as people understand that there are certain morals that we should abide by at all times for our human beings, for one another? That would be love. Of course it would be love, but we can't. The adversary is there. So I look at it as, if this is the way life is it ever going to get better? In my mind, I'm almost done. In my mind, I keep remembering that Jesus said he's coming back for 1,000+ years to be on earth and have peace and glory and all the best things of life. So that's what I think, right? And I'm hopeful for that. But we've been waiting for it for so long. Goodness gracious, right? So how do we keep hope alive?
Man,
I know.
right? It's I was having a conversation with my spiritual father a couple days ago, and he was saying something. He said, he said there's something that he was thinking about the other day. He said, when you look at the Bible, he said we forget there are 400 years between Malachi, the last book in the Old Testament, and Matthew. There are 400 years in between there. And I was like, yeah, that's right. And he said, imagine what they were dealing with. And I was like, yeah, because America is only 250 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, wow, they didn't hear anything for 400 years. So I know they had to be like, man, this stuff is, and I could see, and that's where I kind of thought about, yeah, you know what? I can see why you can get a little, what is the word say, weary and well doing, because it's like all we see is things getting worse and worse. I think if we look around and you see, and also it looks like evil be winning sometimes. It looks that way. Right. They lose in the end, we know, but it does look that way. How do we keep hope? Man, what Jesse said, keep hope alive. I don't know. I hang on to mine. Some days I'm winning. Some days it's tough. I can't even. It's tough. Yeah. And look at what the news pumps at us. I mean, you look at the news and they're trained to gloom and doom is what they are trained to pump at us, and it's because that's what's popular, right? But holding on to hope, that's a tough one. You know what? I gotta punt that one. I don't even know. I just do the best I can with every day I got.
It's hard.
I'll be honest with you. I read the Bible and sometimes I think we got it easy. Because there was times in the Bible where you wake up the next day, and if you didn't pray to this this golden statue, you know what I'm saying? You get executed on sight.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So, I kind of look at it and be like, well, it ain't that bad. Because if I wake up tomorrow and, and I'm just using this as reference, the president we have today, he can do a lot of things, but at least we ain't got no golden statue of him that we got to bow down to, because if he could, he could.
Hey, Brother Ronnie, I think he's working on that, though. I really think he's working on that.
MVP worshiping nothing like that.
But that's happened in our day and age within the last 2 years. The whole I'm trying not to be, but we all know Iran thing, where we heard all of the killings that happened for the protesters that were out in their area. That is real for some people, where you must do what they tell you or you will die. And America's not that way, but there are other countries that live that way. China, there's many other places. So that's why I'm like, how do we talk to people? And, we're talking about Christ, we're talking about Christ. Christ is love, right? Christ came here to speak about love, compassion, and God is really about love. So how do we speak on this to people that go through those hardships in life and being told you're going to do what I tell you or you will die? That's like, how do we get to people? And that's why I'm saying keeping hope alive when they're going through situations like that. It's very difficult. In my mind, I feel like I'm not even equipped to speak, and so it's very humbling, even though we live in America and we have all these privileges, we have so many things to be grateful for. We don't really know how awful it is for other people. We hear about it and we disregard it, but I actually have friends that have family that live in those situations, and it hurts my heart to hear that they are going through that suffering that they cannot do anything. You know, their family is there and they can't do anything to help them. So and it's like, and that's why I'm like questioning everything. Well, what is this? What are we
All right.
doing?
I do want to say, but um, and so what you just said, Lady T, we got to understand, and let's be, we got to be real with ourselves as we study the Word of God. Is that in this we live in America, but there is a world that generation and generation there are generational curses, and so some of the things that occur in other worlds, you got to look at it from that angle as well. There are generational curses. Yes, from our eyes and from our lens, we look at it as traumatic, but we don't know the other side of what has transpired in generations, and there are generational curses. Some have generational curses on their life in America, and so we don't see those things and we don't understand it, and so God doesn't punish you just to we live under grace right now, and so there are things that happen in the world that we look at it from a natural perspective and not a spiritual. And it's not to say that's not messed up. It is, but we have to look spiritual, because there are things that happen that's out of our control, that's in God's hand, that God allowed to happen for a purpose where we may never understand, that we may never see. And so so that's why it's important for us to continue to pray for things like that, because we don't understand it. Mentally, we don't understand it, because there are things that's going to happen. God said in his word that we're not going to understand until the end of time. We're not going to understand. And I'm not saying things like that don't happen and it's not messed up, but that's what I'm saying. And that's how I look at it from my eyes, is because there are things that happen right in worlds that we don't even, probably not even going to see, and we got to look at it from that angle.
But the reason why I say all this is because we are in a melting pot in our country. We have many different nationalities, and I can make friends with many different type of people. We all can. And so you learn about them, you love them. And
Yes.
when you love them, you learn to love who they love as well. And it's been difficult for us to communicate as Christians being in this country. That's all I'm saying.
No,
You want to say who wanted to say something? Go ahead. Apostle?
Yeah, you touched on this, and the word says the heart of man is desperately wicked. Who can know it? And something you said, Brother Ronnie, that made me think about it when you said now our time versus what we read about, right? It said before the flood, it said that the thoughts of man were evil continually. That's what the word says. That means that it was just evil there was just evil, rampant evil before the flood. And so it's like, man, it must have been worse than where we are right now, to bring that into perspective. But because we live in a fallen world, and the heart of man is desperately wicked. So there are going to be iniquities committed that bring generational curses down on even I was talking with a brother today that just got back, a brother that I know in ministry that just got back from Vietnam. And he said it's in their constitution. No, was it Bangkok that it was in the Constitution. It's one of the Asian nations that it's in the Constitution that if you're caught preaching, 3 years, if you're caught baptizing, 6 years, if you're caught. Now, this is only against Christianity, by the way. Nothing else. You can follow anything else. But Christians, this is what they put it in their Constitution. That in itself, just having that Antichrist spirit is going to bring curses upon that nation, even with what we see in the Muslim nations and how they live. But even for us in this nation that claims to be a Christian nation, now we know how that is. I mean, there are many Christs out here, and mine doesn't have long hair and it's not Caucasian. I'm unapologetic about that. That's a different Christ. But so really these atrocities that we commit before God, even some of this stuff in his name, right? That's bringing curses upon us, even as a people. And so I think Chef Dennis, what you said there, I think you're on point. I don't know if we can attribute everything to that. I don't know if we can attribute everything to that. But I think when you look at the whole thing, it's that we live in a fallen world, and these are the things that happen in a fallen world. But there's something that I thought about when you going back to your question about hope. The word says this suffering that we endure now, and almost it says this light. Some translations say this light suffering. I don't know about that, but light suffering that we endure now, right? Will not compare in comparison to the glory that we know, because I tell people I read the back of the book. We win. You know what I mean? I read the back. So I know all of this that we seeing right here. You like, yo, it makes look, I'm full-time ministry. And look, the stuff I've seen, it does. There are days I'm just spent emotionally, like, yo, I can't even. I get the phone calls. I get the, I had one of our churches in Africa. Just this comes to mind. Someone stole a 4-year-old boy out of the church during the service, and they found him the next day dead in a river. One of the churches I lead in Kenya. So this happened. So what do you tell that father? What do you tell him? Right. He was in church doing what had his family in church. Some predator steals the child out of the church. And then that happens. So those are the times.
Right.
And I say that's why we got to have our the word says mind heavenly things, because I'm going to tell you, this natural world, this thing, what's it say? Song say, make me want to holler. That's what Marvin Gaye said, make me want to holler. It's like, it's really difficult, but that's why we do have to keep our minds on heavenly things and look forward to the glory. Even the word says that Jesus endured the cross because of the joy that was set before him. He knew after this is over, I get to go back and with my Father, I get to go back. And so he did it knowing that was going to be the end result. So that's the only way I've been able to do it, to be honest with you, with some of the things I've seen and gone through, particularly in ministry. Yeah.
So I did want to go back to the topic and what I've always kind of like, if you watch previous conversations, me and Chef Dennis have had arguments about to me, but to me, it's just it's not that I don't believe that men are under attack. I do believe that, you know what I'm saying? But what bothers me is the absolute of like men are under more attack than women, or men are under this, and that is the thing that bothers me, because there's nowhere in the Bible that says that. You know what I'm saying? There's nowhere in the Bible that says that. The devil wants all of us, just like God wants all of us. So he's not sitting out like, I'm going to send 60% to men and 40% to women. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's what it just bothers me whenever Chef Dennis be like, we're more under attack. No, this whole world is under attack. He's not, he wants us all. He's not sitting here going like, well, if I get 52% more men than women, you know what I'm saying? Because they're the leaders. Nah, he wants all of us. So it just bothers me whenever he says that, because I feel like it's diluting the real narrative, which is the real narrative that all of us are under attack. You know what I'm saying? All of us. There's not a person. There's not anyone. There's no one who is safe. So I do understand the thing, but then and like I said, I've been praying about this weekend, and I just feel like if that is your thought process, that men are more under attack than women, then I feel like we as men are failing each other then. If that's the case, we're failing each other, because in reality, we have more capability than most women have. I'm only going on Chef Dennis's premise here right now. I'm just trying to put my head in where he says things. There's more women in the church. There's more women in doing this. Well, how come? because we're not out here getting each other. We're not picking each other up and taking each other to church. You know what I'm saying? Like, we see each other. If that's the case, then we as men of God should be even more prevalent about getting more men of God in the church, if that's the case. You know what I'm saying? But I still don't feel that way. I just try to wrap my head in Chef Dennis's cloudy mind.
Okay.
But
So I'm gonna ask. Go ahead. All right, go ahead.
You can be clear, but my thing is this. You know, I just feel like that's another trick for us to think that we're under attack more than women, or like then we can just leave our women alone, focus on men. Nah, it's about God wants us to get all of us. It doesn't say men get men. It says all. So therefore, for me personally, I just feel that it kind of clouds it or gives it a gray area when you say men are under more attack than women. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how I feel. So that's my argument about that. I just wanted to clear that up a little bit. And now, Chef Dennis, go ahead and say your craziness. I'll wait.
Lady T, you are the woman that's on the panel, and you be around other women, right? Do you hear of women being lustful after a bunch of men, or men more lustful after multiple women? Let's be real. What the lust is in both, but you see more men have a desire for multiple women. When God has
men are ugly.
No. Hold on. Did I interrupt you?
But let me just say,
what happens is there is a desire that's in both, but when men have a lustful desire, it destroys what God has intended for them. He has intended for them to have a wife. That's number one. So there is a desire that's on the inside, is burning, and he wants multiple women. Women don't have. Go ahead, lady.
Can you say that has a lot to do with the anatomy of a man and a woman? The differences, the anatomy. Y'all men are different when it comes to that part in life. Stick it and dip it, and it's all you have to do. Yeah. So that's an anatomy thing. And if that anatomy part has anything to do on the brain, it could possibly be, because of that. I understand your point though, but I look at it as an anatomy thing. I truly do. Stick it, dip it, and leave is something that is possible for men. So that is like, very easy. Okay. And it's been like that for
many years.
Forever. Yeah.
Right. There you go. Right. So why are you looking like that, Ronnie? You lost or something?
Yes.
Okay.
I lost. I'm waiting for you to make your point, because that was not a point.
Why wasn't it? Like from the beginning, watch this. From the beginning of time to now, it has been that since the beginning of time to now. Lust. Not the women. You didn't see women running after the men. It was the men running after multiple wives. Because when God said you only have to have one wife.
That's a discipline thing. But that's a discipline thing.
I'm talking about what was created. Lustful desires was not created from a woman. It was created from a man.
Even God, when he created a woman, said it was very good. Everything else was good until he got to a woman, and he created her and said it was very good. Even he put her on a better pedestal than us. What are you talking about? So, of course, a woman is beautiful, a man is ugly. Of course, they're going to be lustful women. You know what I'm saying? Like,
lustful? No. I said the desire. God built us to farm. He built women to be a companion for us. So therefore, women are beautiful. Men are ugly. Therefore, we're supposed to be out here working. All right.
Therefore, that doesn't mean anything. What does that mean?
Okay. So watch this. And then I'm gonna let Lady T go. But let me ask you something. So watch this. So check this out. God created the animals first, right? Did he not?
Yes.
Okay. Did he not create male and female to reproduce? Right. Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay.
I assume so. Yes.
Okay.
I
And
would
he
assume so. Yeah.
Okay. Now watch. There is no. He created Adam, right?
Mhm.
Now there's no lust at all on the land. He created Eve, right?
Mhm.
What happened then?
Nothing. What do you mean? He had a wife. He didn't have lust for Eve. What are you
Thank-
talking about?
Thank you. He did not have lust for Eve. God had made her a suitable woman for him. Not multiple women, one woman for him.
Okay. So
That's-
what's your point?
That's the foundation right there. That's the foundation.
I'm still waiting on the point.
The point is that there is the foundation of man and woman.
Okay, I get
You-
that,
you
but
mi-
you're still not making a point. So what?
Oh.
God created a woman and a man to be together. I don't understand what's your point.
Hey, yo, what's wrong with you, man? Lady T, what? Oh, Lord, Jesus.
No, you're not making a point.
Did that go over your head, Apostle?
Obvious
Like-
facts.
Did you understand me, Apostle?
I think you're saying that the lust came from the man. They were together and it was just them, and it was man that corrupted it, looking at other women and wanting other women.
Is there anything in the scripture that says that though?
Says what?
That the man corrupted it through lust. I'm just asking. Maybe I can't remember any of the stories that said how a man lusted.
Look, sin is sin. What does that?
I mean,
gotta
yeah,
do
that's
with
what I
anything?
agree.
That's just
Sin is
one
sin. But I mean, we're talking about lust. I think it's an anatomy thing. I think it's a bodily thing for a man to control, that part. That's my opinion, because it's just, I'm in biology. I like biology. So I look at it as that, because
And then it's also
women can't do what y'all men do, because we are the carrier of the babies. So that is totally different. So that's why I say it's probably Rodney. I know you're going to be a little disappointed. He
Okay.
might be just a little bit right. That it's a little bit difficult for men to be leader when it comes to the lust part because of the anatomy. That's all I'm saying. I just said the anatomy, and not to say that women and men are not doing the same thing out there. They are, but we're just talking about that lust part, and I say it's just because of the body part.
But Lady T, we're only talking about one sin. So
Right.
right now he's talking about lust. Do more men lust for women than women lust for men? Yes. Okay. Now, do more women do a different sin than
Probably,
men?
yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, that is true too. But what are we
Yeah.
talking about? That doesn't mean anything. So what? A woman is beautiful, a man is ugly. Of course, I'm not going to lust. I'm not going to sit here and go out and get the ugly dog. I'm going to get a pretty dog, or a nice cute dog, or a good-looking dog, or a dog that serves a purpose.
Hey, Rodney.
I'm not going to pick the one-legged, half-faced, ugly mule dog. Like when
What
I go
the-
out
what-
and get a car, wait a second, sir.
Come on.
When I
You
go
go
out and get
loud.
a car, I want a car with 4 wheels, not 3 wheels broken down and leaking gas. What does that got to do with anything? Like, yeah, men like things that look good. So what? Now there's a difference between lust and actually just liking what you like. I like my wife. I don't like any other thing. So what does that have to do with anything? You know what I'm saying? Like, what man wants something crappy? I don't understand why that has to do with lust.
All right, we got a comment, but before we get to that comment, right? Hey, Rodney.
Yes, sir.
But here's the thing: you don't. What you're missing is that the lustful desire that destroys the home, destroys the woman and the kids. Like women don't, like I said, they are naturally.
Any sin destroys
Listen.
your home.
No.
Any
listen.
sin.
No,
Name one
Rodney,
that
we
does not
talking
destroy
about,
your
we're
home.
talking about men being under attack with that. But guess what? It comes from a deeper rooted desire. That desire comes from somewhere to want to be with multiple women. That goes for. Listen, there is no
I don't have that
man.
desire, sir.
But
What you
are
mean
you
you didn't?
saying, Chef, that a lot of men do have that desire?
Of
Is that
course.
what you're saying? And
Rodney know that.
Rodney knows that he is not that guy, and
There
so
you go.
he always excludes himself from that
Exactly.
conversation, which I understand, Rodney. Okay,
I understand
but
too.
I understand Chef as well, because I know what he is saying, that is very strong for men. I believe from what
Any sin
Chef is saying.
destroys your household.
We're not talking about any sin. Everybody sin is
No,
sin.
we should
But
be.
we talk
Any
about
sin destroys
what
your
destroys. We talking about what really destroys the home. It's the lust that man has in his heart for another woman when he has
Covetousness.
a wife. There you go.
Covetousness,
Okay.
you know, the Harrison
Yes.
family. Dre said it. Coveting.
Right.
Coveting.
That's it.
It is taking something that's really not supposed to be for you.
Yeah, I mean, even the fallen angels, they saw the women. They were like, "Whoa, what's this?"
Yeah,
You know.
yeah.
I mean,
The fallen
they-
angels.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
were like, right, and so we know, and to even Brother Rodney, because they're beautiful, right, and so they
Mhm.
saw. It says they saw how beautiful they were, and the angels was like, "Hey, wait a minute," and that changed the whole course of everything. But I want to touch on something, a verse that came to mind on what you guys were saying, and even what Chef you're saying. It says, and that's Genesis 3:16, when the Lord called Eve to the carpet, and he said, "I will greatly multiply thy sorrow, and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee." And so really the woman was designed in general to have a heart for her husband. And so it doesn't, I don't know of any passage that says that man is more, prone to do, but I do read this and say, okay, there's got to be merit to women being more inclined to look toward a husband. I do think, Lady T, when you're talking about biology, it's something that they have to think about more so than a man does. If I could potentially end up with a child that I have to care for, so that's something that I would say generally is going to be in the back of a woman's mind. And I think that when that playing out across generations and generations and millions of people, you're probably going to see some tendencies. And they say, what is it? Men are more visual, don't they say that? I think that's a saying, And so I think there may be some merit to it. I think there may be some merit to that. I think that in terms of temptation, I don't know. It could go both ways though, because you got Jezebels out there. You got
it can't go both ways.
You got Delilahs out there. You know what I mean? She looked at Samson. She was like, "Yeah, I got him." And so you got that out there too.
Of course, you definitely do. And then if you take the man out the picture, there's no more procreation. There's no more life. If you destroy that, it's no more life.
It's definitely not if you get rid of women. So what is that point?
So
you be making non-points.
Rodney?
If you take men out, there's no procreation. If you take women out, there's no procreation. What are you talking about?
I want to know, y'all. That's what I want to know. What is the agenda of the adversary? Like, what is the adversary trying to do? Like, what? Okay, let me hear you out. Okay, get rid of everything, so there's nothing to serve the adversary.
Well,
I'm like, I'm confused. Like, what is the real?
I think this is the strategy for this age. I think the strategies have, you have different strategies for different eras. I think that what they tried to, with women's rights, let's say, I think that they take a good thing and then they try to turn it into something else. I think that had good intentions, but it actually ended up hurting our families a little bit instead of helping. Now, let's take a natural example, right? Why would a man be attacked, right? Let's take the example of slavery in America. What was one of their main tactics? Take him away from his family, right? They take the men and split them up and send them to all these different plantations, right? Because the man was the head of the family. So to weaken the family, they would deliberately take the man away. Look at the social programs of let's go back to the 60s, 70s. Okay, you can get public assistance, but if there's a man in the home, you can't get public assistance.
Right.
So now what ends up happening? Okay, marriage rates plummet, right? That's one of the effects. You have men are now, okay, you can't live here with this family because a lot of times they weren't able to support. And I think what ended up happening ultimately, to go back to your point, Brother Rodney, I think a lot of brothers just ended up giving up, man, instead of standing up. I do. I think the effect of it over time, society being, and I'm talking about our people, in general now, and that the agenda of that socioeconomic agenda of this nation, which I don't think has ever ended, and I don't think it ever will, is to attack families, particularly families of lower socioeconomic status and different cultures, to attack those families, and they attack the man. They attack the man because, again, he's the head, he's the protector, and they are deliberate to keep him separated from the families. Incarceration rates, keep them out of the communities, keep them locked up. And so even when you look at, and something came to mind that you guys mentioned, I was listening to a brother talk about, he's a Vietnam vet, and he talked about what the Viet Cong would do with officers. He said that they always looked to take the officers out. And so the officers wouldn't wear anything that showed that they were a leader, because they actually got rewarded if they took out an officer. They got more rewards, because if you take the head out, if you take the one that's leading out, then that unit is in disarray and more easy to conquer. So when you talk about agenda, I think that's why. I think that you take the head out and the unit is in disarray. You take the leader out, the one that is organized, the one that has everybody working as a team, that team is going to end up being weaker. So I think that's what their agenda is. I think it's intentional. I think it's attached to socioeconomics for sure. Here, I mean, look at the back of a dollar. I mean, God is money. Their God is money. Their God is money. And so they're like, how can we make more money? How can we keep them subjected to us? How can we keep them down, keep them from progressing? I mean, banking laws that prevent lending in certain areas. I mean, you could look at all of these things and say, yeah, there's an agenda. There's a definite agenda. And they take the man out because he is the head. He's the one that they see, he keeps it all together. So I think that's why.
Okay. I love that.
I think it's subtle.
Very
but I
subtle.
think it's there. Yeah.
But look, how do we talk to those people that to grip them out of that mindset? Because it's about money, it's about spending. It's about getting them to spend their money and time and energy into something that's not beneficial for them, that will take them away from the true community of their family. So I'm like, how do you talk to people like in a situation? Yes, it's about money. People love money. People love to make a lot of money. People love to have a lot of things, a lot of nice things that they can show off. And social media is the worst now, because all we do is just flaunt our stuff, right? So like that's why I'm like, when I look at where we're at today in our day and age and how we see the men changing and the leadership role of a man changing, I am sad. I'm very sad. And I sit back and what can I do? I just watch. But how do you change this? You get to the power, right? Or do you boycott? Can you get a group of people? Remember, boycotting back in the day was real easy to do. You can't boycott nothing really nowadays. But what do you do to really try to get people to know the Christ within them and get them closer to God? I don't know.
Yeah.
So I ask these questions just because I like answers. So
motivating brothers to operate together is a difficult thing. It's difficult.
okay.
It really is. It's a difficult thing. First off, nobody nobody wants to follow. Everybody wants to lead, qualified or not. They want to everybody wants to lead. You get 5 brothers together, you're going to have an argument within a half hour. And I think that's not coincidental either, to be honest.
I want to be a
that's
leader.
coincidental. I want to lead. I think that and it's a letdown for brothers. You know, it's interesting. I remember coming up and we had, you know, a group of us, and our group was large. We had like 15 that operated together. Some of the stuff we did, we shouldn't have been doing. But I remember, you know, not to say that gang life is good, but it was a gang mentality. So goes one, so goes everyone. And I don't see that as prevalent now. I think the groups have gotten a lot smaller, you know, than what we used to see. We had neighborhoods where people hung together from the neighborhood. You see, the neighborhoods are not really, you don't know your neighbors as much. I think all of this has kind of slowly, like I said, it's been subtle. There used to be a time you go to a basketball court, people were out, everybody was at the basketball court. You see the drive-by basketball courts now. If there's not an organized team practicing there, it's pretty much empty. So, and that's the video games, everybody's inside looking at televisions. You're not going to have a group of 50 people in somebody's house playing video games. You're going to have 5 guys. And so I think there's a lot of layers to it that have worked to kind of separate brothers working together. And I don't know if that was intentional or not. I think that was just about making money. You know, video games, keep them in the house playing these games. That's money. And that industry, I mean, they make billions and billions of dollars. So I think it's just a slow thing that has occurred. Brothers are not, you know, we're more distrusting, you know, than we used to be back in the day. We learned how to deal with conflicts better back in the day, to me, because I'm gonna see this guy tomorrow. I gotta figure out how to deal with this conflict, as opposed to I've never got to see you again. I think a lot of factors come into play, but it was about the separation of men as operating, functioning in groups. I think it's happened over time. I just think it's happened over time. And but how do you? I would say back, Brother Roddy mentioned this. It is our fault, though, bro. It is. It's our fault. We allowed it to happen. I think we allowed it because it didn't have to happen.
I got one more quick thing. I mean, and I do that is something that God has put on my heart recently. And you know, because I prayed about this, because you know, Chef Dennis drives me crazy with this whole thing. But you know, but then I also look at it, I'm like, how do y'all say this? And I'm just being honest with you, Dr. Keith. And I do want to say this. I'm thankful you're here, and everything you said, I get where Chef Dennis, you know, listens to you, but you know, I don't think Chef Dennis hears clearly. Like sometimes you can say something directly to him, but somewhere it's like an adapter in his mind where it gets changed when it gets there. But anyway, but y'all are a part of a national men's Christian group. So how do you sit here and say that men can't get together, but then y'all are doing it? So that's the thing that drives me crazy too. It's like you're sitting here saying men are under attack. Blah, blah, blah. Then go to King's Movement, and I see 150 men all together, all doing under a group, what looked like a great group leadership, all doing the same thing, moving this entire movement towards something. But then you turn back around and say we're under attack. We can't do nothing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, but y'all are doing something. So how do you say one thing 1 minute and then go to your King Movement and move the world the next minute? So I just don't, that just confuses me too a little bit. So
but Ronnie, what we doing is like so I could just talk about my story, right? Look, Ronnie, I saw it on my social media, right? And so because I saw it, I said, man, I start reading about them, what they were doing. I wanted to be a part of it. So look, what I do now is I go out there and try to bring men towards that, or bring them towards Christ. So guess what? That just helps strengthening me. And so that's what I want to do for other men. So I go out and I talk with them, I encourage them, and I try to encourage them to do the same thing. And that's what it's like he said, changing the narrative. That's what King is about. That's what we doing. So we became a part of it.
The narrative.
Look,
you're the one that is spinning that narrative.
Not just me. No,
it's the same person changing it.
But not just me, it's all the men that's a part of that. So there are men. Look, I met men that's live in Michigan. I've never been to Michigan before. So see, they the same thing how I felt. They came to from Michigan, flew all a group of them came over here, got crowned. But see, that's what I'm talking about. So they came from all the way from Michigan to over here, and we grew a relationship now, right? So now, guess what? I have brothers over there that I could talk with. They can encourage me. I can encourage them. And now, guess what? It's like a domino. It start with us, and then guess what? It'll eventually move to the next. And that's how we want to do. We want to change that, because guess what? You mean to tell me you can't go in a room with 5 men that you don't know and you could talk to?
I can.
That's you. It's a lot of men that can't do that. Because
that's
guess
not
what?
True. That's what the world is telling you.
No, Rodney, come on, bro.
Right, you're in 100. It was 150 men there doing the same thing. I literally watched it.
So hold on.
What are you talking about?
So Apostle, explain to him how it started. You tell him how it started.
No, it's not about how it started. It's what you're saying. In 1 minute, you're saying 5 men can't get together. And then the next minute, you go to a group where it's 250 of y'all together doing something for God. It don't make sense to me.
I think what it is where unfortunately King stands out as an exception to what you're generally finding out there. And we talk about it a lot at King. Like he said, those brothers were from Michigan, but the narrative is the same in Michigan as what we're talking about here. And so I think King kind of stands out as it's a unique situation. And like, again, we talk about it often amongst King, because an interesting thing, like we'll have a summit and that's 3 days, right? There won't be any problems. And we'll have 6,000 to 1,000 men, right? And everybody's always so surprised. Like, man, this is really... Brothers that come for the first time, for sure, they're like, man, I've never experienced anything like this. And I can attest to it. Even when I first got involved, I came to a cookout that was nothing but brothers, and it was 100 brothers at this cookout. No beefs, and I was like, what is this? Is this a cult? What's going on? Like it was. I'm telling you the truth. I'm from Newark. I was like, where am I at, and what is going on right now? Because you know how you come in with your head on a swivel, like, all right, where the problem gonna be at? There's too many brothers in here, right? And so I agree, we are trying to do something about it. But I do think that exists. I think it exists, but we're trying to change the narrative. As Chef said, we're trying to. So, but I think we're still speaking to this is a prevalent thing in our communities and amongst men. And so I think both can be true. And we are trying to change it. I agree. So
of course we are.
Yeah.
Listen, hey, look, I can't say for everybody else, but that's my heart.
Shout out to King Movement, by the way. Shout out to y'all, brother.
But Dr. Keith, you understand, as a man like me watching this and then hearing you say this, it's like it's confusing to me. It's like, hold on. Like y'all are a part of the exact. It's like you're saying we're the poison and the antidote. You know what I'm saying?
I think that I used to be on the other side at one time. By the grace of God, I believe I am now helping to work towards the solution. So I think I was part of the poison at one point. I do.
Hey Rodney, but I listen. Watch this. You won't do this. I do this. Apostle Keith does it. I'm about to show you. Look. Just because you don't know a person, you won't give them a hug. I give anybody a hug, because guess what? I want them to see genuine love, not just say, "What's up, brother? Hey, what's up, brother? How you doing?" Give them a hug. But can you do that? And I ain't talking about directly you. Can most men do that? No,
Go ahead.
see, there you go. See, look, see.
Yeah.
See, no, it's my brother. It's my brother.
You can't take him serious, y'all.
No, you can't. Hey, Apostle, you can't take him serious.
No,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
good.
my bad.
I'm good. I'm good.
Look, but that's
I'm
the
good.
thing. Most men, yo, they look, they getting ready to cringe. They like, yo, I don't know you like that, dog. What's up? But guess what? When I do that, it's different because guess what? I want them to know. Look, there ain't no soft, no sweet thing of it. Yo, I want to show you that I really care. I want to show you. Look, listen, we can do this.
You know, that's because that's what the world has trained us to do.
And that's why I do what I do.
The only reason why
Right.
I answered the way I answered, because that's what the world has trained me. That's what your parents trained you. You know what I'm saying?
Mine.
Don't take candy from strangers. Don't get in the van that says free puppies. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't hug.
Right.
Don't hug a weird large man who wants to hug you in an elevator. You don't
Hey,
do
Rodney,
that.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't know what Apostle. He say he from North too, right? I don't know about you. They say, nah, I'm not grabbing him. He bad.
Let me tell you. And
I ain't grabbing him.
I'm gonna share some. I'm gonna share something with you. When my wife and I moved to Atlanta, and we were there for a few years back. We went there in 2011, and we were there for a couple years. I remember when I first moved there, right?
Mhm.
And you go to the gas station, and now I'm like, all right, let me run into the store and grab something. So as I'm walking, you know how you don't mean to, but you kind of catch eyes with another brother. They speak, down south. They'll say, hey brother, how you doing? I remember first getting down there, you talk about being raised a certain way, Brother Rodney. Brother would speak and I'd be like, yo, do I know you? I would ask him, do I know you? You know, like why are you speaking to me? And that was a knee-jerk reaction to like, you don't speak to somebody you don't know. That because that's how I came, we came up. Yeah, and it's like, bro, because if you speaking to me and I don't know you and you being friendly, you trying to set me up. That's what that's how I came from. And it took me months to get out of that. My wife would be like, how come you don't he was just being nice? I'd be like, why you being nice? I don't know you. you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Oh, we love Chef Dennis.
Yeah, he's like, and so that reminded me of that, and it took me months to get out of that. To say no, they're really being sincere, because I would immediately be looking around like, yo, somebody get ready to come up behind me. Why is this dude saying hi to me? And we're products of our environment. We're products of our environment, and that's which that narrative needs to change. With brothers as well. We need to be, and I don't know if we should be too trusting though, because you right about that van and with the free puppies thing. Like, hold up, wait a minute, time out.
Well, no, I ain't saying you do that. But I do believe, like for instance, and I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like we have things in my church, but it's on a way smaller narrative than the King Movement. And when I saw the King Movement, don't worry, I gave Chef Dennis hell about the King Movement. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, it's Jesus Omega Psi. Like, I'm not, what you call it, but I respect it. I make jokes. But I definitely respect everything that you guys do and things like that and blah, blah, blah. But the thing is, but don't sit here and tell me that men can't come together when you're a part of a group where men come together. That's the problem I have.
You don't readily find it though. I don't think.
How do we know that? Because I didn't know it until I found it. You know,
right? Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. It's not prevalent. That's what I'm saying. And so it's kind of like I was surprised when I found it. Even when I showed up, I didn't know it was a King meeting. And my thought was, yo, did I stumble into some kind of cult up here in South Orange? You know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't used to it.
But that's what the world has conditioned us. And my problem is, I feel like the world is still, that's the narrative that they're trying to condition us, that we can't come together, that we can't do this, that we can't.
And that goes back to what Lady T mentioned, agenda. That goes back to, I mean, that goes back to the agenda.
And even the one, but I feel like it's also agenda to sit here and be like, oh, men are under attack more than women, because I believe that women are under even more secret attack than we as men don't even see. You know what I'm saying? Like I talk to my daughter about abortion. You know what I'm saying? Like that to me is a huge secret attack towards women that us as men we don't even look at. You know what I'm saying? But that's an attack. So we all have secret attacks. It isn't like the devil is focused on just men or focused on just women. We all have attacks. We all have things. Now, women may be able to get together more easily, and that's seen out in the world. They get together and do this, but they have attacks that we as men have no idea about. You know what I'm saying? The devil don't care. He don't give it. He don't care. He don't look at your sexual orientation before he decides to attack. You know what I'm saying?
Again, it goes back to strategies to me. I think that there's strategies for women, and I think there's strategies for men. And maybe there's merit to what you're saying about whether it's more. Maybe there's merit to that. But I think that as a tactic, even in warfare, the enemy tends to go after the leaders.
But we're not thinking of it, but the devil doesn't think like us. And he's had let's say minimum 6,000 years to attack, to know how people are. He don't care. But anyway, I'm good with it. But it's a great conversation.
His attack was to Adam through Eve. The original attack.
No, let's disagree on that, because Adam made his own decision. Eve didn't sit there and throw the fruit down his throat.
He knew not to talk to Adam. He knew to talk to Eve, because Eve would talk to Adam.
No, he knew that Eve didn't hear the commandment from God, and Eve was. Here's the thing.
Knew,
so I prayed on that.
She knew something.
Let me ask you a question.
She knew something because she told him.
Because hold on, I got something to say about that. Because I prayed on that one, and what I feel is that you got to understand that Adam and Eve were not man and woman to God. They were his children, and Adam was the oldest child. God told Adam, because he's the oldest, before Eve even got there, that he is not supposed to eat from this fruit.
Yeah.
Then he had his second child. He's not looking at us. God don't look at us as man and woman. We're his children. We're souls that he wants for us. So that was his second child, and it was Adam's job to tell the second child not to do it. And that's what Adam did. Now, when the devil, hold on, wait a second. Let me just finish. When the devil came to Eve, the devil knew that Eve never heard God say it. So he asked questions. Hey, are you really going to die? Is this really going to happen?
Right.
So it wasn't about man and woman. It's not about man and woman. We make it man and woman. They were both God's children. So
you got to get... He had to get Adam now. He had to get Adam. Adam was the one that had Adam was the one that had Adam was the one that had the mantle. Eve was made for Adam to be a helpmeet, because it was not good that man should be alone. So she was made for Adam, and the two of them it says that when you become one. She was taken out of his side. Woman comes from man. So he could have created woman from the dust of the ground, just like he created Adam, but he didn't. He created Eve from Adam, because she was made for Adam. The enemy knew. Here's what it was. God, you're right. God told Adam. He ain't tell Eve. Adam told Eve. And she got that wrong. Yep. Because God said, don't even touch it. God never said, don't touch it. He said, don't eat it. So now, first thing she did wrong was start having discourse with the enemy. She should have went and got Adam. Because the enemy didn't want to talk to Adam. He wanted to talk to Eve. And even Paul says it was Eve that was deceived, not Adam. But the enemy knew, I got to get Adam. And I can't talk to Adam because he's already been, been inoculated against me. So I could talk to Eve, and I can get Eve to talk to Adam. And guess what? Ain't we still susceptible to that today? Men, the weakness of men is women. That's why he knew. If I get Eve to tell him to do it, and let me tell you, you know what's funny? You know what? No, it's not an excuse. Look at the example. Look at the example. Eve had enough sense to even have a discussion. Adam ain't have no discussion. Adam was like, okay, and just bit the joke. You know what I'm saying?
Hold on.
Adam may say, hey, look, think about it. Adam may say, ho, wait a minute, what you doing? She was like, here, Adam. He was like, ate the joint. At least he put up some kind of argument about it.
But Adam made a decision. Adam made a decision to eat it. It wasn't like she gave it to him and said, you know, hey, here's a banana from the banana tree. Nah, he knew exactly what he was doing.
He knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. In for a penny, in for a pound.
But that is
he was like, you ain't cut. Adam was like, you ain't cutting me off. I'll eat it. Give it here.
Yeah. So he did, and he
ate that
made the decision. So therefore, it wasn't Eve's fault that he did it. He decided to do it.
Well, I'm not saying fault. I'm just saying.
Let me ask you. So, hey, Rodney, hey, Apostle, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing, Rodney. Let me ask you. Since you brought up the fruit of the tree, right?
I didn't bring it up, but go ahead.
Okay, let me ask you something. Yeah. The fruit that was in the garden, what was it placed? Where was it placed?
In the middle of the garden.
Okay, now when it was placed, did the fruit all look the same?
I don't know, nor do I care.
It says it in the word.
It says in the Bible. If you read the Bible,
right, okay, it says it in the word.
All of he was there and he knew what he was doing.
No. I'm not talking about what I'm talking about. What the word says.
Well, whether the fruit looked like a banana or what it looked like, what is it?
All I asked the question. That's it.
What's your question?
The fruit was taken from the serpent.
It was taken from the tree.
Look, the serpent took it, gave it to Eve. It was given to Eve.
Okay. Yep. Get to your point.
Did she bite it first?
Yes.
And then she gave it to Adam.
It says Adam.
There was a conversation, but basically what I'm saying to you, there was a conversation that was had that Adam knew if he saw the serpent take it from the middle of the tree, he would have known that was not the fruit he was supposed to eat. He did not know
it was the fruit he wasn't supposed to eat.
I asked you, who took the fruit? Who took the fruit from the tree?
It says that Adam was there when she ate of the fruit. So he knew what the fruit is.
I
don't know what you're trying to get me to say.
Adam knew the fruit from the middle of the garden in Eden was forbidden.
It wasn't a secret. Like you act like this fruit
I'm not talking about opinion. Don't take your opinion. Look, take your opinion out for a minute. Okay, I'm in the Word of God. It says that the fruit that was in the middle of the tree in Eden, right? Right.
It was from the tree of life and the tree of what's the other tree? The other tree was
knowledge.
Yeah, knowledge and good and evil. Go ahead. So what's your point?
I said
I'm waiting for the point.
The point is who got the fruit? Who got the fruit? You said Adam. So you saying that what you're saying is that don't go about what you're saying. You talking about Adam saw the serpent take the fruit, give it to Eve. She bit, then he bit. That's what you're saying. That's not what the Word of God says. That's what I'm talking about. It does not say that. Don't
show me where it doesn't.
I just told you when the fruit was taken. The serpent took it and gave it to Eve and asked her, "Who told you that you would surely die?" No. She bit the fruit first.
Okay.
And then she gave it to Adam. But now here's what I want you to understand is that when she bit it, her eyes was open. Then she gave it to Adam. If Adam knew that she had taken a bite of that fruit before he gave it to her.
He did know. He did know.
What?
I think Adam's eyes were open too. That's why he ate it. I think he looked. She gave it to him, and he ate it.
It wasn't a secret. You act like it was a secret. It wasn't a secret. God don't work in secrets, bro. You know when you sinning. It ain't no. It ain't no. You sin and then you find out 15 years later. You know when you're sinning.
Did you see that, Ronnie? That's it. There you go. Look. Listen to what he put.
Okay, their eyes were open after Adam. What does that got to do with anything? I'm saying that Adam knew what he was eating and he ate it. He made a decision. He wasn't deceived. That's why it says that Eve was deceived and Adam wasn't. He was not deceived. He knew exactly what he was doing.
Does say that.
Yes.
I don't understand what you.
Look, I told you why. Because, man, please, my wife would come in here with something right now and say, "Here, eat this."
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be like, "What is it?" As I eat it.
And it's because of the anatomy. That's why.
Rodney isn't wrong. No, put that back up. There you go. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Don't try to skip past
he look. He
Oh,
knew,
by the way,
because even in the punishment, he said, because you listened to the voice of your wife and ate of the fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden, here's your punishment. He said, because you listened to her and ate of the fruit of that tree. So the punishment, he knew.
He knew. I'm not saying that she didn't influence him. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it don't act like he didn't know what he was doing. He knew what he was doing.
He knew because she had that much influence. That's what I'm saying. Well, he had that much influence.
And I agree with that too. My wife has influence too, but that knowing what I know now.
Man, Adam did not want that smoke. Adam did not want that smoke. I don't care what anybody says.
Nah, bro. I know my wife's mother killed 5 husbands. I look at what I eat. I
can't believe you said that, Rodney.
I can't believe you said that either, yo.
Yeah.
Hey, yo, no, we gonna have to get up.
Can't take it serious.
And we all safety first and everything.
Hey,
so,
Rodney. Hey, Rodney. But I want to say this to you. Did you read the topic?
Why are men under heavy attack from leadership?
I didn't say more. I didn't say they are more attacked than women. I changed that. No, but you obviously you didn't pay attention. So I wanted you. Okay, yeah.
Just remembers past conversations. That's all.
That's right. I
got past traumas.
I know.
Having these conversations with you. Yeah.
Listen, we're gonna get ready to get out of here. But Apostle, if you have any social media that you want people to follow some of your work, please be free to let them know where they can follow you at. So TCC.
I would say you can catch us on Community CT Church on Facebook. You can also our ministry is that we focus on healing and deliverance. We're pretty big on it. Strongholds and things. People coming up in dysfunctional families and different things like that. This walk is hard enough, and then when you're dealing with past traumas and different things, it makes it even more challenging. So Chef Dennis could attest to the fact we focus on inner healing a lot, being strong in our walk. So visit livingfreemin.org. You'll see some resources there in that regard. And that's it. And then I'm just on social media as Facebook Keith Wilkes Sr. And that's it. I'm not really a big social media guy, but I'm in the community. I'm out here, and
how we said we out here. We out here.
I'm not really on social media too much, but you can find me there. And I'm actually glad to meet y'all too. This is really good. Yeah.
Listen,
brother Rodney. I can tell. I already heard about you, but I can tell. I'm like, yo, that brother's great. Yeah,
that's my brother, man. That's my brother.
Yeah.
And listen, hey, before we get out of here, I tell you, when I first met him, right, I was like, man, when I I actually went down there where he lived at. I said, when I see you, bro, I'm gonna give you a big old hug, man. This dude was just like looking at me like, yo, why this dude hugging me? I love that brother. I love you.
I do want to, before we go real quick, I just want to say one thing. Hey, Dr. Keith, I appreciate you coming, hanging out, and joining and giving some clarity because, when Chef Dennis come back and say things that he say, you say, it don't sound the same. So,
wow. You was something else, though.
I'm just glad to now know it's Chef Dennis is not you. Because I even asked him one day. I said, man, if he telling you that, I question your leadership. Like I gotta find out what's going on. But now I talk to you, I have more clarity that it ain't.
Bad.
You know what I'm saying? Like I told my wife one day, I was like, just because you're a bad follower doesn't make me a bad leader. Just makes you a bad follower. And I just realized that Chef Dennis is just a bad follower. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying? So he's not. I thought it was a leadership thing, but it turns out that it's just Chef Dennis. He's just a bad follower. So that's what I've realized. So make sure when you talk to him about this stuff, you actually like write it down and like transcribe it to him or something, because sometimes he don't get it. I just don't understand it. But he's still a great man and love him and all that. God tell me I gotta love him anyway. So
Amen. Amen.
Hey, listen, we definitely gonna see you guys tomorrow, man. Be blessed. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace.
Be blessed, y'all.
Oh man.